Hello YouTube, Al here, and this week I'm taking a look at the Keeley Caverns. I'm going to show you that in a second. I just wanted to do a little bit of playing as an intro because I quite like this dark delay. The delays are quite dark on the repeats and I quite like that, so I came up with a little new delay. So everything. This is my Epiphone SL Les Paul. Got it on Sunday and I've just greased the tuners and stretched it out and set it up a little bit. And you know what? It plays great. Intonation's fine, action's fine, neck angle is fine. I've adjusted the pickups so they're roughly the same height. Neck's still a bit louder, but the bridge gets a bit shrill if it's a bit too high, so I'm balancing them out really. So anyway, the Keeley Caverns, let's have a look at its features and then we'll get into a more in-depth sound test of all the different settings and schmiz. So let's do that. Okay, so here it is. It's the Keeley Caverns. It's a delay and a reverb pedal in one. So on this side you've got delay and then you've got the reverb coming after it in the chain, which is normally the way around you'd want them. Let's see. So the controls on this side are for the delay and on that side are for the reverb. So let's go through the delay first. Oh, let's go through the easy stuff first. 9-volt DC power, little top mounted jacks, which kind of makes it easier. If you've got the round pancake style, like Dunlop style jacks, you can't put two of them in side by side because there's not enough room because they're quite wide. Apart from that, saves loads of room on the sides. Nice case, positive feeling foot switches. Right, obvious stuff out of the way. So, delay side, you have, we have the blend, which is how loud the repeats are. So if you go and it springs back, that's, you know, it's how loud the repeats are. Obviously they get quieter and darker as it goes on. It's a digital delay that's sort of analog or more tape voiced, so it does get darker and kind of mushier. You have the time, which is how fast it bounces back. You have the rate. The rate is to do with the modulation. So down here, you've got off, light, and deep, and that's sort of a tape-like sort of warble. In between a warble and a chorus, I would say. It's quite chorusy. So you can have it off, on, or light, and it's how fast that it does some wobbly stuff, really. And unless I'm looking at it backwards, repeats, that's how many bounce backs you get. I normally have it around there. That's it. Oh, decay is how long. Oh, sorry, let's look at reverb again. So that's the delay side to the reverb side. The decay, I'm looking backwards. The delay is how big a splash you get, how long it goes on for. You have the blend, which again is the volume of the reverb. You've got the warmth, which is just how warm or bright it is. I haven't really found that this does that much, to be honest. I'd rather have one of these on the delay side, just so you can kind of make it a bit more or less dark, because it's a bit dark for me. The rate is for the shimmer. So you've got three sorts of modulation. You've got the shimmer, which is kind of an upper octave angelic chorus sort of thing going on. You've got the spring reverb. When you're on the spring reverb, okay, so shimmer reverb is a type of reverb rather than type of modulation. Spring in the center is a spring reverb, like from a Fender amp. And when you do that, the rate doesn't affect the shimmer anymore, even though it says underneath. It affects the rate of the tremolo. So you can have that all the way down to naught, just have a reverbless, sorry, a modulatedness less. You can have it with no modulation. There we go. Christ. If you turn that down to naught. So that goes for the shimmer as well. And the modulated is basically just a chorus. Straightforward, bit of a chorus. You could technically turn the decay down and then the rate or modulation up, and then you could have it more modulated than reverb. But there you go, that's the two sides of it. It seems like a lot, but I think it's not actually that many options. When you think about it, you only got one delay. You can't control how bright or dark the delay is. It's sort of take it or leave it. There's no tap tempo in this, so you've got to sort of flick and then find the right spot. Yeah, the modulation, I mean, it's all right having it deep or light or off, but I don't really find I use modulation much. The delay I'm using at the moment, the Line 6 tone core, has got a modulation knob, and I just normally have that on naught, to be honest. There we go. I normally have that on naught and it's normal. So if I want some modulation, I can turn it up and it gets more and more and more. I don't really hear a huge difference between the light settings and the deep settings. But I'm sure there are some differences. Let's try this thing with a wound up amp now and see how we get on. So yeah, 3 types of reverb, 1 type of delay with some modulation you can add on there or not. Let's plug it in and see how it sounds. Well, again, because you heard the intro, but you know. Let's do that anyway. Okay, so like before, I'm going into my custom double barrel 212 combo. I've got Celestion V30s in it because why the chuff not? A bit louder. It's my Epiphone SL Les Paul. It's completely unmodded. I've greased up the tuners, I've set it up a little bit, I've set the pickups height where I like them, as I said before. It's otherwise stock. So let's have everything at 12 o'clock. And I think I'll go for the modulation first. So here's everything clean. There you go, that's 12 o'clock. last two singles, it's making me do Surfer all the time. So you hear the bounce back is as loud as the guitar, or pretty damn close. I'm going to push that down to about 10, 11 o'clock. Bit more, back 10 o'clock now. There you go. Bugger me. Sorry, I had a reverb on by accident, so let's go for light modulation. The rate is splat bang in the middle. Splat bang? Slap bang. Bit wobbly wobbly. Rate up, so it should be faster. It almost feels like a tremolo. Let me turn the rate down. So we've gone from 3/4 of the way up to only 1/4 of the way up now. deep. So, same settings, just flip the switch to the deep modulation. It's a bit much for me. Maybe if I turn it up. So, let's try 12 o'clock straight up. It's actually better. It's a bit more subtle. It's a bit more like a really fast tremolo. It's part of the sound rather than interrupting the note. Quite dreamy, I quite like it. But a bit chorusy, like almost atonal, which is what you get. That's kind of the warble you get with tape delays or emulated tape delays. 3/4 of the way up, so it should be really fast now. Like that, like sheep barring. So let's go 1/4 of the way up. Should be hopefully quite subtly blended in. Bit much for me. Rates all the way down to 0. Let's try and get 4 repeats, so the repeat knob's down. That's good. Blend up a bit. My royalty-free nod to the police. I think the modulation sort of, it's cool. that's the modulation, all that wobbly nonsense. Doesn't sound too bad to me at all. Probably not the sort of sound that I would normally use. I like that there's a deep and a light setting, but I wish there was more of a knob for depth rather than just a three-way. Just my personal preference, because I'd like to have it there, or I'd like to really dial it in if it's there rather than just sort of have it or not. So, let's move on and let's do the reverb separately, and then I'll just combine them for some ambient weirdness. So, here's the reverb. Everything's at 12. We're on this shimmer setting. Needs a little bit of a setup, I think. It's nearly there, it's just the action's a little bit high for me, so bear with me. You can hear the flutter. Oh, it's on the spring setting, I see, okay. So what we've got is a tremolo. Turn the rate up to 12. Quite good and splashy. Okay, let's do the police thing again. It's almost kind of delay-ish with the amount of splash and a little bit of modulation in there. A tremolo. So, let's turn the rate down to quarter of the way up. Should be a lot less tremolo, but still there. About 10 o'clock. It's there, but it's not very deep. So let's see if I can turn the decay down to 0 and just have the tremolo on its own. Yeah. There's basically no... it's like a tiny room. There's a little something there, but it's more tremolo-y. There we go, faster rate. Can't play it right, I get sued. Back to 12 o'clock on the rate. So let's move to Shimmer. Just want to see if I can get the Shimmer on its own, basically. You can't, let's try a big chord. Sounds a bit like sort of ghosts. You know what I mean? Like it's like a sound effect from the film Poltergeist. Like they're coming through the TV at you. So this is Decay back at 12 o'clock. Not ready for solos, it is more for the chordy stuff, sort of ambient swells. It more accents the higher notes than the lower notes because it's an octave up thing. So really springs out at you, excuse the pun. So if I turn the rate up, let's see what the Shimmer does. To a quarter of the way up. So it seems to control both the volume and the time. Sort of the level of the effect, really. Let's turn the decay down. Oh God, ghosts. Enough of that nonsense. Let's go to modulated. So modulated, this now should be a chorus. Of course it only lasts as long as the decay, which I've turned down. Decay up to 12 o'clock. blend down because it's a little bit strident. A lot of modulation. Right, so rate from 12 o'clock to 3/4 of the way up. So right down to naught, we should have no modulation. So modulation on naught, we should have just the reverb on its own. So let's mix them together. I've got no modulation on the reverb delay, but I've got little bits. Let's try tremolo first. So everything at 12 o'clock, just have a tremolo on the reverb. Try light modulation. Blend down to about 10 o'clock, it's a bit loud. Turn the decay up on the reverb. Time down, so it's going to be shorter. So I like the repeats where it is. Let's head over to the deep modulation. I'm going to turn the rate down so it's slower. That sounds about right. But the decay's up. Blend up a little bit on the reverb to about 11 o'clock. Go to Shimmer. Blend up on the delay a bit, make it a bit sharper. I'll take the decay down in the reverb because the shimmer's making it go on a bit too long. It's a bit sick, bit bit sicky, a bit ghosty, a bit, don't know, a bit saccharine. So right down on the shimmer, let's calm that down. Up a bit, I think. Modulation up on the delay, the rate up. Let's turn the modulation off so it's a straight delay. That's the more sort of sound I think I would use, it's not too cluttered. Let's go to the spring reverb with the delay. Yep, so this is no reverb, it's just the tremolo on the reverb. Sorry, it's no modulation on the delay, it's only the tremolo on the reverb. Oh, modulation, sorry, my bad, modulation. If I turn the blend up and the decay down, maybe I'll get it proper tremolo. Where's the bloody repeats? If I turn the reverb off, what's the delay like? Okay, and the reverb on its own. It's the modulation making it go really... It's like a ghost. So, I just want to go for a big sound now. So if I turn the decay up, let's leave it on the... Yeah, let's leave it unmodulated. Let's set the delay. Let's put everything at 12, why not? More repeats. whooshy, I'll turn the blend down and the reverb a bit. And the time. So the decay down on the reverb. Up a bit, I think, up a bit. Modulation, let's turn the rate down. Let's go to spring so it's on the tremolo. So, to lay up, let's go to Shimmer. If you keep long droning notes out, then I find the Shimmer really helps sort of give an ambient pad, but you kind of need to keep a drone going for it to work, because if you like, if I go, it's a bit of a lag before it starts to catch up, so you want to make sure the rate and decay is set so that it doesn't linger too long, and you want to only use it for things where you know you've got time for the shimmers to sort of come underneath, because otherwise it just sounds like someone's playing a synth part, sort of, you know, and they're a bit pissed up. So just keep that in mind. Like, you couldn't really do leads with it. Got to modulate it, it's a bit much. Notice that it stopped while I changed modes, that's interesting. So I find the modulator is a bit easier for chords because it comes in at the exact same time. Well, it's part of the reverb, but you know what I mean, there's no sort of swell up to it. delay is ridiculous. It was on full, it's back to about 4 o'clock. Like the out of phase position on this. Faster. Turn the rate up on the modulation as well. Sounds a bit out of tune, but that's just the chorus. I think. That's as much as I'm going to get out of this. So let's do some final thoughts. So there you have it. That's a look at the Keeley Caverns delay and reverb in one. It's not a bad pedal. It's not the sort of thing that I think I would really use. I'm not going to have it sticking around. The main reason is this does not, well, the main reason is it doesn't have tap tempo. That's really the clincher where I can't really, no, I like to be able to just tap it in and then therefore I've got the next beat. Because, you know, if the drummer comes up with a drum beat, then I can just sort of tap and then I've got something to go underneath it straight away. I don't have to be fucking around it. You lose the vibe, don't you? You lose the spontaneity. So I prefer things with tap tempo like the Line 6. I like the fact that it's a delay and reverb in one. It makes a lot of sense to do it. You've got, to be fair, more options than probably most people would want in a delay and reverb. Again, you've got the modulation settings that you can use on the reverb or not, and just turn it down to 0. Personally, if I'm going for a pedal that does more than one, if I'm spending this amount of money, because you can see how much these are new, they're about 170 quid or something. I got this second hand and I'm going to sell it for the same as I paid for it, so no, skin off my nose. If you're going to spend this amount of money on a pedal, personally, if I was going to spend this amount of money on a pedal, I would want it to do more things, to have more options on it. Like the other reverb I've got on my board at the moment is the Electro Harmonix Oceans 11. I've recently got that and I haven't even scratched the surface the amount of stuff that can do. It's got about 14 different settings in it, including a modulated, a spring reverb, and a tremolo reverb, and a shimmer reverb. So, I mean, to be fair, that's probably about a similar price to this new on its own anyway. But I mean, personally, I would want more options in the reverb department. If you just want a bog standard spring reverb, then hey ho, this will do you. It's got a load of other stuff in it that you probably won't ever use. If you like to experiment, it's got some extra cool stuff in there. I really like shimmer reverb, so that's the main reason I had a look at the Electro Harmonix, is because it's actually got a shimmer reverb. The little Donna multi-reverb I was using for like 2-3 years before that doesn't have one, and I couldn't believe how amazing it was when I tried the Electro Harmonix. So I really like that it's got a shimmer reverb. I like the modulated reverb. It sounds all right. It's not the sort of thing I personally would use. I like the modulation on the delay. I like the sort of tape warble it gives you. That's quite an interesting effect. I don't know if I'd use it that much. I might use it just for a little bit of movement. But I found on the light setting, it didn't sound like it was really there. And on the deep setting, it was a little bit too much for me. So I know there's a rate knob. I would rather have a depth knob rather than this switch, just so I could sort of dial in the amount of depth that I wanted, as well as the rate. I feel like it's a bit all or nothing. The delay character's a little bit dark for me. It keeps well out of your way of your guitar signal, which is good. I like that. I don't really like digital delays where it gets a bit, because it replicates precisely what you put in, it can be a bit in the way of the next thing you're playing. This, because it sort of nips off the high end and it always comes back darker and darker and darker, it does stay out of your way, and I do like that about it. But my Line 6 has got a tape echo, which isn't as dark as this, isn't as deep as this. It still stays out of my way, but I think I feel like this might get a bit lost. Personally, I feel like this might get a bit lost. Just for what I do and the sounds I'm going for. So today I've been on a kind of surfery vibe and a little bit of a Pixies vibe, just with them weird chord changes, and a little bit of a Johnny Marr vibe, because when you've got that shimmer reverb going, I kind of want to play that sort of arpeggiated weird chord stuff. So there you go, that's the Keeley Caverns. It's sorry to be a bit of a Debbie Downer, it's just not for me. It is a good pedal. The sounds that it does really sound good. They really sound good. And my guitar was like fair words. My guitar was under 100 quid new. I got that for 70 quid off a mate because he won it in one of these raffle things they do on Facebook, and it's not really his vibe. So I got it new in box off him for 70 Imperial credits. And even with that cheap guitar, it sounds bastard good. The sounds in here are really good versions of what they are. It's just not sort of thing I can really see myself using. If you want a delay and reverb in one pedal, and you're not bothered about tap tempo, and you like the character, the delay, you know, that it gets that much darker each time and it stays out of your way, then have at it. If you want a simple delay reverb, perhaps with a bit of tremolo or something, you can absolutely do that in this. Bear in mind that the modulation or tremolo or shimmer is only on the repeats. It's not on your guitar going in, so this won't replace a tremolo pedal, and it won't replace any modulation pedals. But I like that about it. I like that it's backing up what you're playing with, say, a shimmer or a tremolo or a little bit of modulation, rather than screwing with your main signal. So it keeps a bit of clarity there that your main signal is unaffected. But no, it's not for me. Just not sort of thing I would really use it for, because what I've been looking at is the Electro Harmonix Canyon. Now, I haven't tried that yet. My mate's got it and he says it's fantastic, and it's the sister pedal to the Ocean's 11, so I might be giving that a go. But anyway, I wanted to try this because Keeley are very highly respected. I've got a D&M drive and I really like that. I used that for like a couple of seconds this demo. I just wasn't feeling the drive today. I was kind of feeling clean, surfery stuff because I got 2 single coils in the Les Paul for whatever reason, and that's what I was feeling. So anyway, if you want a 2-in-1 that does delay and reverb, and you're not really fussy about having a massive amount of sounds or options or little different knobs to tweak and fiddle with, then this will absolutely do you. The sounds in it sound really good. If they're the sort of sounds you want to go for, absolutely fill your boots. This should last a long time, and it's good at doing those sounds. But for me, it's not really sort of thing I want to use at the moment, to be honest. The delay's too dark. If there was a way to dial that in, how dark they got, or if there's like a digital analog or tape, like a little switch, so you could decide how dark the repeats were, that would actually be a really, really good idea. Like you've got that for light and dark and deep for whatever, you know, for the modulation. If you had that for how dark the repeats are, that would be genius. But yeah, it's a bit too dark for me. The delays, the reverbs sound good. There's quite a lot of decay there. I feel like when I was trying to blend the delay and reverb, it was getting a bit whooshy, and I'm not quite sure why it was getting so whooshy. I feel like I think it was the reverb that was being a bit overbearing. So maybe I'd have to play around with that and find some magic settings where these two interact really, really well. But the thing is, if you're going to stack them, it's kind of like you got to say you got to pick a delay sound and stick with it, or you've got to stick a reverb sound on and stick with that, and then you click on the other one for the big sound, or you have them both on and that's your one sound and off, and you have to set it up before the song. So it may not be as versatile as you think when it comes to the real world and practicalities, which is why I quite like to use tap tempo. So there you have it. That's a look at the Keeley Caverns delay and reverb in one. It's not a bad pedal at all. It's just not really for me. Anyway, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, all that nonsense. My link to my Instagram is down in the description. Leave any comments down there and I'll try to get to them. So until next time, I'll be seeing you. Bye-bye.
Bye.